Welcome everybody back to Nine's Corner. I hope everybody is doing well. I've had a very interesting day, as I always have, because I made the unfortunate mistake of going on Facebook. And on my Facebook feed were a number of people who were saying, let's call this what it is, a Chinese virus, because we want to make sure the Chinese government are held responsible. Well, I didn't know if I should cry or pull my hair out because I'm thinking to myself, I've been having all these good cards about people, starting to have an appreciation for Mother Nature, an appreciation for each other and how connected we are as a people. And I'm thinking, they're doing exactly as Donald Trump wants, to call this a Chinese virus. It's not. Yes, the Chinese government are responsible. Yes, they have some really bad practices and the whole 9 yards. But the Chinese people did not do it. And by keeping that going, it's almost like going back into the time of Hitler. What did Hitler do? When people were desperate, when money was tight, when the economy was falling apart, he found a group of people to say, hey, look over here, here's your boogeyman. And I am so scared that we are not going to learn from history and realize that no, they're creating another boogeyman, and people during extreme times of extraordinary circumstances can do things they never thought they would, including turning against people. When you have nobody to blame, then you blame a group. And I don't want that to happen. So I started thinking, okay, I don't want to read on Donald Trump. I get his energies. I know I got to keep up to date with as things go by. But that wouldn't answer the question I needed to answer. And I realized I need to find out, how are people going to fare through this? Because we're going to be on this topsy-turvy, up and down miracle round. It is going to be a miracle ride if we all get through it. And not because of all the disease, but because of all the fear. And when people are fearful, then they turn on each other. They turn on not on their government, obviously, but then we give away rights and freedoms that we don't even know we're giving away because of all these information acts and all these emergencies. Like, we're so bombarded with information, and false information at that it's hard to keep up on things. So I thought, let's look into it, because you've got Trump out there, he keeps saying over and over, oh, I closed China early, oh, I closed China. He closed China early in comparison to maybe the rest of us, like Canada and such. But you know who did it a couple of days earlier than the U.S.? That was Italy. And they closed down their borders completely with no flights going in or out. U.S. on February 2nd, I think it was, or somewhere around that date, he closed down some of the flights. He still had flights coming in from Hong Kong. He still had flights coming in from Taiwan. That was only for non-American people. For American people, they could still fly in and out of China. So yes, technically what he says is right, but it's not really right. And it's scary to think that people are so desperate to hold on to hope that they're going to hold on to his false hope. So I got that off my chest. I apologize. Sometimes it's hard, for what's going through my mind is not matching up with my cards, because my cards are saying, hey, relax, take a deep breath, this is going to work out. But my mind is reading on YouTube or listening to the news and just going, ah. So I thought, let's have a look and do a 5-card spread, and let's see what is the momentum of the people. How, during this time of crises, with all the ups and downs, because let's face it, you get good news today, you're going to be on a high. If you're going to have bad news, you're going to go on a low. So it's going to be a roller coaster, but let's see how the ride's going to be. Oh, sorry, I just spilled. I'm going to move my lighter here because, of course, I've got my candle lit for each and every one of us. Hope everybody's doing well and healthy and keeping their spirits up and all that good stuff. So How is it going to be for the next few weeks, couple of months? How are people going to react to Donald Trump? How are people going to react to his presidency through this crisis? Okay. So we have the Knight of Cups. This is people, they wish to be social. During this time of need, people really would like to rally and be together because that's what we do as a people. But this is affecting economic, it's affecting your social, it's affecting all of those things. And people are having to wait for information because it's a fluid thing that keeps moving on. Then we have the Seven of Pentacles. So this is a pause. This is everybody saying, 1 second, let's regroup, let's reevaluate what's going on here, and let's start figuring out the difference between fact and fiction. We have the Six of Pentacles. So there is going to be a certain amount of give and take. People are fearful. They are going to be worried about the resources. And let's face it, for a lot of the different countries, the government are either not able, not capable, or not wanting, depending on where you're to do what's right for their people. But we have the Star. The Star is faith in what's to come, faith in the good of people, and that people are going to rise up. They're going to have faith in what they know to be true. This could be the renewal, the rebirth of the morality of people, which I love to see. But we do have the Four of Swords. The Four of Swords is not a negative card, guys. This is in conjunction to what we're speaking of. We're not directing about the coronavirus. We're dealing with how people are feeling. People are looking at it and they're going to need a rest. They're going to need a respite from it all because it's just been information overflow. But this is non-activity, getting ready for getting back into activity. So this is very, very hopeful to see the Star with the Four Swords. That's a good thing. So let's have a look and see. People are going to find faith. They're going to find victory. It's not going to be easy. I mean, there's no way that even with one loss of life that it can be better. But God willing, we will all do our part and keep our social distancing and keep ourselves, away from the world. I wish the world could just all stop the stock market, put everything on hold for, 3 weeks and let everybody just get through this. But so now, the vibe from the people is that there's going to be a focus on communications. There's going to be a focus on correspondence. There's going to be an information that's going to make its way, and that light will shine into the darkness. So let's just look and see what is the momentum of the people? What effect is that going to have on Donald Trump? Because guys, I keep seeing him not staying, and I'm just fearful because I've done readings to see who's going to win, Democrat or Republican. And when I do it, it's almost like the cards just say, no, I'm not telling you anything right now. We don't even know. And it's like I get really stopped on it. So I just keep thinking there's way too many things that need to come to pass, whether it be with Trump or the other candidates. Like, it's just, this is such an extraordinary, crazy time, and it's not just going to stop here. It's going to be crazy going right into, God willing, the election. So let's just look and see, how is this going to affect Donald Trump? Okay. We have the Lovers. So he is going to find himself in a position of having to deal with the consequences of his actions. If he does anything good, he will have a consequence for that. If he does not so good, there will be consequences for that. But this is lifelong decisions. And this is, if you are doing the wrong thing, which, let's face it, that's what Trump's been doing, this is going to be either you having to leave of your own accord because it's just too hot in the kitchen, or this could be somebody saying, hold on now, you need to go. So I'm still seeing him wave bye-bye. I still see him wave bye-bye. Even with all the increase in his numbers, his people thinking he's doing a decent job during this. Hopefully that's just hype, because sometimes, the media hype up, they hype up the good and the bad, and if they can't do that, then they say, imagine if the bad had to have happened, and spend another couple of hours doing that. So I decided we're going to do a little reading on Katie Porter, because I just think she is so fantastic. She's such a spitfire. I've done her numerology. Her name is Catherine Moore Porter, January 3rd, 1974. So she's a law she was a law professor. She was an attorney. She's the U.S. representative for the 45th Congressional District of California. She has a 7 life path. So she is somebody who has great intelligence. And from what I read, I believe she's divorced, because the married said to a certain date, 2013 or something. And I know that she was under Elizabeth Warren. She was taught by Elizabeth Warren. So she has a 7 life path, which is real intelligence, real intellect. She had the expression number of 6. So this is somebody who is really compassionate. They're very much about the family, and that's evident because you watch her fighting, and she's fighting for the rights of food stamps. She's fighting for the rights of privacy. She held Mark Zuckerberg, held his feet to the fire. Jamie Dimon, he was the CEO of the bank. She just called him to task to the point where he couldn't even speak, because she literally said, I can show you as an employee of your bank how I can't make ends meet. What can you do to solve this? He could not come up with anything. He just kept saying, I don't know. And the reality is, he could have said, raise the wage, but the greed that's in this world is overwhelming. So her numbers are pretty impressive. She's got 3 3s. So that's being really creative, really socially aware, socially responsible. It could also lead to a little ego. It could also lead to sometimes not learning your lesson because you're so headstrong into one focus that you don't allow for other people's opinions to change yours. So, from what I can see, she rides on the good side. I wouldn't want to go up against her. I would not want to have her I want her as my lawyer, but not as the lawyer I'm going against, because, wow. So I like to do what I call my introduction tarot. Usually if I say, I'm doing a Celtic cross, anybody who follows tarot will understand what I mean. But I have what I call my introductory. So I ask about, I do 6 cards. I ask about the focus, what's their main focus right now in their life. I ask about their emotional life, how they feel and how people feel towards them, about their work. Then I ask about what is something that they might be facing coming up. What's the best course of action for them to move forward in their life, and what will be the outcome? Because this just kind of gives me a general idea going along with the numerology of what that person's like. So I'm just giving you a breakdown, so if anybody follows it, they'll know what I'm doing. I made this up on my own, so I don't know. I'm just letting you know what I do. This is my introduction. So let's have a look at Katie Porter. I know that on top of being extremely intelligent and pretty forceful, she did come from a abusive relationship, and that's been held against her while she's been trying to make her way in her career. So let's get to know Katie. 1, 2, 3, 2, 3. So Katie is the King of Cups. She is somebody who is extremely focused on work. She is compassionate, but in an authoritative way. She definitely has, her main focus is on work. She is looking at 2 avenues of going down in her career. I think this is probably more delving into her past when it comes to others, that she was going down a different path with her partner, and that life was different. So now she has had to maneuver a new path for herself. And this is very telling in the way that she approaches the things that she brings to the forefront in the Senate, which is pretty impressive. You have, for her work, we have the 6 of Swords. So this is somebody who's moving from choppy waters into softer waters. So I think she's had to do a lot of defending for herself, defending of her character, and having to prove herself. But even though she is going to promote herself, she is going to promote her position at what she does for a living within the Senate and in her career going forward, she's always going to be held back by some of the things that have been used against her in the past will keep coming back to her. But I think that's because people are trying to hold a good woman down. For her unexpected news, we have the 6 of Wands. So, unexpected. I think that she's going to be caught up in a whirlwind of momentum. You know, she'll get 2 steps ahead and then 1 step forward. But we started off with her being the King of Cups. So I think this is showing that there's going to be somebody who might be coming into her life. If she's not, I don't know. I know that she's divorced. I don't know if she's dating anybody. But if she isn't, this would be for me saying, hey, somebody's coming in. So for their advice, advice is the Hanged Man. So moving forward, to keep up her momentum, to keep on the positive side of things, she's going to have to be aware and check her ego, because not everybody's going to appreciate being blocked into a corner and made a fool of, which she has done on several occasions. So, you know, if you're the one who is the one she's fighting for, it feels great, but you're going to leave a bad taste in other people's mouth. So she has to learn to be a little bit more balanced and check her ego. And as an outcome card, we have the 9 of Wands. So, 9 of Wands. She will proceed and do well. She is going to be somebody who will have to self-promote. She is going to have to be somebody who will have to prove herself again and again. But she will defend those who are with her and those who have less than, and those who have difficult times, to have to deal with. Because she is definitely somebody who cares about the social and emotional and mental health of not just her and her family, but those around her. So This is definitely somebody who's going to keep moving, keep going on, and fighting the good fight. She just has to make sure she doesn't get her ego into too much play, because, you know, with great power comes great responsibility, and she needs to keep her head down and keep the mentality of working, because she's a 7. 7s are mentally astute, and they're hard workers, and they know through hard work you can get anything accomplished. So as long as she keeps on that path, she's going to have some amazing times ahead of her. So guys, that's my reading for tonight. I wish you all great health. I hope everybody's faring well. Keep the positive momentum up, because even if you are a Trump lover or a Trump hater, just pray for the best for all people, regardless of what color flag you want to fly. Wishing you light in your darkness. Take care, everybody.